So the first thing on number 1 is what? Olivia Wyndham.
Take the 7 over.
Very good. We've got to get the 7 to the other side. We want to isolate that radical. Okay, since we only have one radical, we get it alone. So how do we move that 7 over, did you say? Subtract. I thought that was... Some of you I saw forgot about that when you were doing your homework. Now, how do we get rid of that radical sign? Square both sides, right? Because it's a square root. Okay? Okay, Danny? Okay, Sammy? I think you did that part right. Which one you got to the inequalities you weren't sure. All right, so when I square both sides, that radical goes away on the left. And remember, the square root of something squared is itself, so it's just the 2x plus 4. But on the other side, remember, 6 squared is 36, not 12, right? Sometimes we make that careless mistake. When we square something, we just multiply it by 2 instead of square. And then we just solve it. Minus 4. And then divide by 2. And we get 16. You guys okay with that? Yep. All right. And again, if we check it, 2 times 16 is 32 plus 4 is 36. Square root of 36, 6 plus 7 works. 13, right? Now, number 2 has a radical on each side. Okay, so right away I do what, Kate? Cube them, right? Because it's cube root. See the difference between the 1 and 2? We got cube roots, we got to cube both sides. All right, now, we got to cube that 3 as well. Some of us forgot that yesterday when we were doing, we had one like that with a 2, I think, yesterday. Some of you cubed it and just left a 2 instead of making it an 8. Okay, this 3 cubed is a 27. And then we're going to multiply it or distribute it by the x plus 4. Okay, so don't forget about distributing that. So what's that? 27x, and what's that? 108, I think. Okay, so I'm going to take the 2x to the left side by subtracting it. I'm going to take the 108 to the right side by subtracting it also. All right, so I got a 25x and a negative 125. That works out nice because 25 goes into negative 125 how many times? 5, right? So negative 5. All right, let's see if that works. What's negative 5 plus 4? Negative 1. Is it okay to take the cube root of negative 1? Yeah. Well, if it was square root, could we do it? No, remember, we talked about that yesterday. We had even index. Square root, 4th root, 6th root. We couldn't do the negative stuff, right? But when it's odd like this, it's okay. The cube root of negative 1 is negative 1 times 3 is negative 3, right? And 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Minus 17 is a negative 27. And the cube root of negative 27 is also negative 3. So it worked. Okay. Questions? Those of you that weren't here, making sense? Okay, 3. We got a square root again. So we have to square both sides. Now, on this one, I got a binomial squared, right? Remember, that means x plus 2 times x plus 2. We have to FOIL that one. Okay, we can't just say x squared plus 4. Just square the x into 2, all right? So don't do that. So we got 2x plus 12 on the left. And then first is x squared, outside is 2x, inside is 2x, and last is 4. Since it's got an x squared in it, and there's not an x squared over here to cancel it out, I gotta set it equal to 0. I gotta turn it into a problem I can factor. So I'm gonna subtract 2x and 12. Now just get rid of that. Oh, there's a fifth one. Should have made you do that one too, huh? Bounce. Okay, so I got 0 on the left. Oops, go back to my pen. And I got x squared. And those are gone. That's why it's 0. And these will cancel, so I just got a 2x, right? And what's that, -8? So that would be x plus 4 and x minus 2. Multiplied gives me -8, added gives me 2. So my two answers are -4 and +2. But we got to check them in the original. So 2 times -4 is -8, plus 12 is a +4, square root would be 2. And -4 plus 2 is -2. They're not equal. So that's a no good answer. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 12 is 16. The square root of 16 would be 4. And 2 plus 2 is 4, so that worked. So the 2 was the only answer, which is this one here. Okay, so all the ones we did yesterday, I think, for examples, was less than or equal to, right? So we had to do that, make sure that this number was always greater than or equal to 0, right? When it's greater than, you don't really have to worry about that. So all we got to do is cube both sides, just like we would if it was equals. So I get x plus 5 is greater than or equal to 64. And then subtract 5, and you get 59. All right? So when it's greater than or equal to, we don't have to worry about that negative underneath the radical part. Okay? And then what would we do for number 5 if we did it? We got to square it, but before we square it, we can do what with that 4? Divide it over, right? We should take the 4 over first. It's 4 times that. So we'd have this x minus 5 to the 1/2. Remember, that's the same as the square root. So we just square both sides and go from there. Okay? So that 4 we could have moved. So we should move it. Okay? There was nothing else, we could move the 7. The 3, or since there was 1 on each side, we don't need to move the 3. If the 3 wasn't, if this wasn't a cube root over here, then we would move that 3 over. Okay, so those of you that had maybe a few questions on your homework, did that help? Anything you're not sure about what I did? Okay, so we did, I'm gonna get to the right page. 632, is that what it was? All right, so 2 to 16 even. Number 2, you should have gotten 34. Number 4 is 10. Number 6 is 3. Number 8 is 1. Number 10 is 2/7. You have a fraction, that's okay. All right, didn't come out as a whole number. That'll happen sometimes. Number 12 was 7. Number 14 was -2. And number 16 had two answers that actually worked. -1/4 and a +1. And then I asked you to do 23 and 4, is that what it was? Or 24 and 5? 23 and 24, okay. 23 was -5 is less than or equal to x, which was less than or equal to 20. And 24 was 0 is less than or equal to x, less than or equal to 8. Those were both less thans, so I had to do the radicand greater than or equal to 0 to make sure I didn't have a negative under the radical. Here they are, actually. Okay, so some of you got to this point on 16, and then, you know, you haven't factored one with a 4 there for a while, but that does factor into x minus 1 and the 4x plus 1, okay? And you set those equal to 0, so, you know, that answer is 1, and this one, subtract 1 is -1 divided by 4, makes it -1/4. And they all work. They both work. Zach? Yeah. Okay. And then I don't have 23 and 24. Let's go over one of those just to make sure we understand. Let's look at 24. So we got 2x plus 6 less than or equal to 10. So the first thing is take that 6 over, just like you would if it was equals. We got the square root of 2x is 4. Some of us forgot to move that 6 first. And then we square both sides. Since it's square root, to get rid of that radical. So we got 2x equals 16. Divide by 2. Oh, it's less than or equal to, I guess. You just treat it as it was, if it was equal. Okay, so that's the one side. The other side is taking this 2x. It can't be negative, so it's got to be greater than or equal to 0. And divide by 2. What's 0 divided by anything? 0. All right? So if you flip it, you know, it's pointing towards the 0. You can write it like that if you want. If you just want to write it like that and like that, that's okay too. Just leave them separated. Okay, so that's on the less than or equal to, you got to do that. If it's greater than or equal to, you don't have to worry about that. Okay? Just making sense. Do you have any questions? Okay, I wasn't going to give you anything new, just give you some more practice, okay? So your assignment is page, we'll just go to the next page. Page S19, not 519, but S19, that's in the back. And I think those pages are in your, you know, your online pages that you can get. And it's numbers, I forget now. Is it 74 to 84 even, I believe? Let me check. Yeah, 74 to 84 even. So it's not that many. You should be able to get it down before you leave. Show your work, please.
Can you go back to the last slide of the problem?
The what?
So can you go back to the last slide of the problem? Thank you.
Yeah, you were forgetting that.
Yeah,
You were the one forgetting.
just a smidge.
Yeah. You did it a couple times, didn't you?
Yeah.
All right.
And that's on that.
Well, if this wasn't here, you know, if the radical was there, we would have, but you don't have to. It's just one on each side. So you square the 4 and that, right, and then distribute. So what's 16 times 1? Yeah, you could write that.
I was not. I don't know why.
What numbers are they?
74 to 84 even. I'll put it back up in a minute.
Okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.